I don't want to get all like English teacher, but could be symbolism, I guess, of like supporting her. So he was down bad. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the 30th episode of the Resolution Podcast, where we help. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the 30th episode of the Resolution Podcast, where we help rappers gain clarity on their calling. I'm your host with the most, Alex Lacey. Today, we're going to be breaking down some more storytelling tactics. This week, we're going to be breaking down Passing Me By the Pharcyde, which is on their first debut album, I believe. Yeah, debut album that is called The Bizarre Ride Part 2. And I love this song. I think there's like this breakout single. Was it a single? I'm actually not sure if it was a single. Anyway, we're going to be breaking down this song and the storytelling in this song. Basically, I've referenced this idea a lot of the and but so formula to basically, it's a really easy way to create a story. The and is, and if you don't know what it is, the and creates the setting, the subject, and the start of the journey. The but implies conflict, and then the so is the resolution to that conflict. And when I started breaking down this song in terms of storytelling and in using this formula, I was like, wow, this is just linking a bunch of different and but so's together. And specifically in his verse, we're going to be breaking down the first verse, which is by Booty Brown. He uses, I think it's like two and a half links. And what I mean links, I mean and but so, that's two links. This is how it starts. I'm just going to break down I have his whole verse written down, so I'm just going to read it off and break it down. So he states the time which, by the way, the setting, it is crucial that you start or have some sort of inclination of time and place. Place, not as important, but time definitely needs to be in there. In time, he states with, now in my younger days, I used to sport a shag. So younger days, back then, he doesn't give us a number. In my younger days, I used to sport a shag. And then he says the second part, so the and kind of has two things. It's like the first part is definitely sets the time and can set the subject. And the second part of the and, because it's like this and that, the second part of the and can state the subject and the start of the journey. And he actually mentions the place in the second part of the and as well. When I went to school, I carried lunch in a bag with the teacher with an apple for my teacher because I knew I'd get a kiss. But I always got mad when the class was dismissed. The and was talking about the place in the second part, and then it was the start of the journey. I knew when I went to school, I carried lunch in a bag. That's the start of his journey. He was going to school. So he's taking us to school, but he always got mad when the class was dismissed because he had a crush on his teacher. So which is the solution to the problem. So when it was in session, I always had a question. I would raise my hand to make her stagger to my desk and help me with my problems. It was never much. Just a trick to smell her scent and tried to sneak a touch, which basically is like he's trying to get with his teacher inappropriately. I mean, he was like probably middle school, so she was like maybe 20s. So yeah, she's got 10 years on him. And then the final part to that whole section was to show how much of a crush he had on his teacher. Like he would literally go to school with an extra piece of food so he could give it to her so he would get that special attention. And also try to like call her over so he could like just try to I just try to smell her, try to sneak a touch, which I think is kind of weird, but whatever, bro. It's still a well-told story. So that's the first link is and. So I just want to sum up that first section just so it's easy to digest. He said, in my younger days, I used to sport a shag, and when I went to school, I carried lunch in a bag with an apple for my teacher because I knew I had to get a kiss. But I always got mad when the class was dismissed. So when it was in session, I always had a question. I would raise my hand to make her stagger to my desk and help me with my problems. It was never much. Just a trick to smell her scent and try to sneak a touch. So, damn, I really did all that. But anyway, he doesn't necessarily say and but so, but you could very easily implement where and but and so are placed in that verse. Again, the moral of the story of that part of the story was to get us to recognize kind of the background and the context of that whole information, which the background is literally the and part of the section. So if you want to break it down that way, each and but so is a fragment of the and but so. And then the next one definitely talks about more of the problem, which is the but part. And he starts with, "Oh, wow, I wish I could hold her hand to give her a hug. But she was married to a man, he was a thug. His name was Lee. He drove a Z. He'd pick her up from school promptly at 3 o'clock." So he's saying, this is the background information, but she's married to this guy that's like a thug and he has a car and he's like very responsible. He's able to pick her up and potentially provide for her because he's like picking her up, which could be like, I don't want to get all like English teacher, but could be symbolism, I guess, of like supporting her. So he was down bad. And I've been down. I've had crushes before. Like, I know what that feels like. So it's just like, bro, I know. He says, so I was honored. I was honored jock. Yes, indeedy. I wrote graffiti on the bus. First, I'd write her name then carve a plus with my name last on the looking glass. And then he gets onto the third link of the song. And this whole section is definitely talking about the but of the situation, which he's like, I have this huge crush on my teacher, but she's already married. And he's like literally carving her name, writing his last name. And so he's just like fantasizing, like, damn, that's just something I will never have. And then he gets into the so part of the verse, which is, and I think this was this was a little tricky for me to decipher, but I interpret it as, and I seen her yesterday, so I still had to let her pass, which that ties it up all in a nice so right there, because if he just said, I seen her yesterday, but I still had to let her pass, we wouldn't know why. Okay, you're letting who pass? Like, why is this important at all? Why would we have any emotional investment in this story that you just told in or I guess it was even one sentence? I seen her yesterday, but I still had to let her pass. It's like, okay, whatever. But since we have all this background information of how he would literally take extra apples to school to give to a teacher, and you do these little things to try to get this little special, like all this special attention, but she still has a man, she's married, and he like picks her up and he has like way of transporting her of where she needs to go, and he's like fulfilling her needs, and she's just like way out of his league in terms of just age. So he'll never really get with her. It's just like that longing, but never really getting it. So at the end of the day, he just has to let her pass. And that's the and but so of that whole story is, if I was to sum up that entire verse into the and but so, I would say when I was younger and going to school, I had this super hot teacher that I had a massive crush on. And I would do little things to try to get her attention. But she had a man already. She was married, so I just had to let her go. That's what I would probably say. I would probably, if I had more time, I'd probably fine tune that, but that's probably what I would say is the 3-sentence story for that whole verse. Which, if you're having trouble writing verses and if you're wanting to tell a story more specifically, which again, all the storytelling tactic stuff, this is strictly like just for storytelling. If you're not wanting to tell a story, like that's totally fine. I just know that I love storytelling, and a lot of my profession, what I'm learning in college, revolves heavily around storytelling. So I find it really interesting to break down lyrics in a storytelling format and then try to develop formulas and give to you all. So it just makes your process a lot easier. So that's what I'm trying to do. That's all I have for this podcast. Thank you so much for watching. And actually, I'm not sure if I will be able to start doing weekly again. We'll see. But if we do, I will keep you posted, and follow my Instagram. I will be giving more updates on there, as well as just a bunch of clips from past episodes. So I will see you potentially next week, maybe the week after next, definitely the week after next, but potentially next week as well. So thank you so much, and I hope you all have an incredible week. Thanks for watching. Peace.